Hello friends, welcome to my next lecture on performance analysis of algorithms, and this is the second part of the performance analysis. In the first part we have discussed about the space complexity. In this particular lecture we are going to have a discussion on time complexity. Okay, after this I am going to create another lecture for time complexity, for asymptotic complexities. But here in this particular lecture I want to specifically discuss upon what is a time complexity and how it could be measured. Okay, even if you do not have the knowledge of asymptotic notations, how you can just measure, how you can analyze, you can say, okay, how you can do the priori analysis of the algorithm. So let us move ahead. So in the last lecture we have discussed about the space complexity. What is a space complexity? Is the space required by an algorithm to accomplish a particular task is called as a space complexity. Okay, or you can say that amount of memory required by an algorithm to complete the task is called as the space complexity. Okay, moving ahead to the time complexity. Now the time complexity of an algorithm is the amount of computer time it is going to be needed to run for the completion or to accomplish a particular task. We say that is called as a time complexity. So as we have discussed in the last lecture also, there are two types of evaluations. One is called as a priori estimates, which is done before implementation of the program, and the second one is posteriori testing, which is done after implementation of the program, and it is compared that whatever our priori estimates are there, the same fits over here. So this is about the space and time complexity. These points, friends, we have discussed in the last lecture that we had of this about the space complexity. So let us discuss about the actual what is a time complexity and all. So let us directly take an example. So as stated that the amount of time required by an algorithm. So now this is going to be an estimate how much time it is going to be required. Okay, so estimation will be based on how much instructions I am executing, and if you can just count the number of instructions they are executed in your program, you can say that is the estimate of your program, and then based on that you can say that one algorithm is better than other algorithm in case of estimation, in case of analysis. So let us consider the same example that we have discussed in the last lecture. The first example that we have discussed in the last lecture was about the sum algorithm. So algorithm sum, and for this we have discussed this algorithm previously also. So what I want to do here is, what I am doing here is I am calculating the array, so some of the elements present in the array. Okay, so which are all the elements present in the array. So whatever the array contents are there, let us say if my array is containing 5 elements, 1 2 3 7 and 4, I want to get the sum of all these elements in this particular algorithm. Okay, currently I am not going to discuss about the logic. I hope all of you have understood this logic already. So what is being done is, let us discuss it for once. So s is equal to 0, sum is equal to 0 for I is equal to 1 to n. For all array indices, for I is equal to 1, I is equal to 2, all the array elements will be added to s and the result will be stored to s, and finally the value of s is written. Okay, now here our intention is to calculate how much, our intention is to predict how much time is going to be required here. So I am going to predict, so for example let us say I am going to predict how many instructions are going to execute here. So this particular instruction, the first instruction is going to execute for 1 times. Now this is a for loop, and this for loop executes for n plus 1 times. So that means that one count for every call of this for loop. Okay, and this is going to be executed for 1 into n plus 1 times. Further moving ahead, this is a instruction which is written inside this for loop, and it executes for n times, and it executes for 1 times. Now here I am not giving any formula. What I am doing is I am calculating. So I see here for I is equal to 1 to n, count is equal to count plus 2. Now why count is equal to count plus 2 is for this instruction is going to be executed as the condition becomes true here. So as many as times the condition becomes true here, this is going to be executed, and for loop is going to be executed for that much number of times. So it is count is equal to count plus 2. This 2 every time count is initially 0. So count is initially initialized to 0. Okay. Now count is going to be incremented by 2 inside this for loop, because there are two things that are executing. One is the for loop executing for multiple times, and along with that this instruction is also executing. The number of time this for loop executing, that number of time this instruction is also executing, and this for loop is executing once extra. Okay. Now this one and this one, the second one, let me show you. This is the second one. So the second one, so this is the second one. Okay, this is the first one. This is going to be executed once. This is the instruction going to be executed once, and this is the instruction is going to be executed once. So for that purpose, what is being done is finally count is equal to count plus 3 is done. Okay, so this count is equal to count plus 2 is for this particular for loop as well as this instruction, and this for loop is going to enter inside this looping statement for n times, and once it is going to be false, that one plus this s is equal to 0 1, and this one is taken separately, and count is equal to count plus 3 will be done, whatever the count you get. So if you implement this program and if you run this program, you will get how many instructions are going to be executed in this sum program. Okay, similarly if you have any program, at the time you can adjust that program in such a way that all the instructions are removed and you are just adding the counts. Okay, so this methodology of identifying, or this methodology of let us say estimating the requirement is called as the step count. Okay, so moving ahead, so let us move ahead. Let us discuss another algorithm, and this is the complete algorithm. So it is the algorithm embedded with the count step, this one. So okay, so see here, s is equal to 0.0, and that is calculated here. Count is equal to count plus 1. Then for I is equal to 1 to n, count is equal to count plus 1. This is for the for loop, and this is the instruction s is equal to s plus a of I, and this is a count for this particular assignment statement. Okay, or this particular statement. Then count is equal to count plus 1. This is for one extra for loop, that is for once the for loop in the for loop, once it is going to get inside this loop for n times, and once it is going to have a condition in which it is going to come outside the for loop. So that for loop, this is for the last for. Okay, and count is equal to count plus 1. This is for return, and finally return s is done. See here, one thing you can observe, that all the count instructions are written after the instructions, but here before return s, this count is written, because return s will return the control to other program, and this instruction, if it is written after this, will not be executed. So that's the reason that I am writing this instruction first. Even for each instruction you can write all the instructions before the execution of the instruction. That can be a good practice. Okay, so this is about the embedded you can say embedding the program as well as the count instructions. Moving ahead, let us consider an example of R sum, that is recursive sum. So here what we were in, our intention was to again add the content of the array, but by using a recursive algorithm. Okay, so if n is less than 0, then return 0, otherwise return R sum of array A up to n minus 1 elements and added with the A of n. Now here if you'll see, if you'll try to identify how many counts are required, so see here, for this if statement there will be one count required, and if this statement executes, then only we have to count it, and for this return one count is required. Okay, so what is being done here, you see, so count is equal to count plus 1. This is for the if statement, that the first if statement, and count. So if n is less than equal to 0 or less than 0, let us say it is less than 0, then return 0. So that return 0 is there, for that one count is calculated. So that is for the count. Similarly here, for else there will be no count. Okay, so for else statement is never considered. So if this statement is true, do this, otherwise do this directly. So else is not exactly executed. Okay, so directly will come here, and this statement will require one addition. So here count is equal to count plus 1, count is equal to count plus 1, and addition for the addition function, invocation, and the return function. So because all this return function is written inside the single instruction, so this instruction is going to be executed for 1 times. Okay, so what is the how many instructions are going to be executed here? So is it 3? So this is 1, then this is 2, and this is 3. Do you think it is 3? No, it is not 3. It is 3 plus x. Now what is this x? X is, so there will be some time required, there will be some count required to get this work done. Okay, so for that purpose you will require x amount of time. Okay, so so let us try to solve this equation. So let us try to find out what is x. Okay, so if you will see here, how much amount of time is required to solve a problem size of n is equal to time required to solve a problem of size n is I have to require to solve a same problem of size n minus 1. So the time will be required for that. So t of n minus 1 plus every time it is 3. Okay, so this becomes one recurrence equation, and you have to solve this. So let us try to solve this one. So time required is, so here it is 2 plus, so I am not considering, I am considering x. So this is the time required for this. If you are considering x, then only 2 counts are remaining. So it is 2 plus x. So it is 2 plus x. Okay, so here, so time required to execute this problem is 2. When it is 2, when problem is very small, and what part is going to be executed? This part is going to be executed, and there are only 2 counts. So that is 2. Okay, otherwise it is 2 plus t r sum n minus 1. So t r sum, time required to solve the problem of recursive sum for n, is t r sum n minus 1, solve for n minus 1 and add to it, 2 to it. So if you will solve this, so it becomes something like this. It is t r sum of n is equal to 2 plus t r sum n minus 1. Then if I'll expand this, so if I'll put n is equal to n minus 1 here, what will happen is 2 plus t r sum n minus 2. So that is here. So this 2 is previous to, then it is 2 plus t r sum n minus 2. So it is 2 into 2. It is 2 into 2 into t r sum n minus 2. If you will extend this, what you will get is 2 into 2 plus, if you will extend this, so you will get 2 plus t r sum n minus 3. So again this 2 will be added to this. So this becomes 3 into 2. Okay, and it will continue for n times. If you will do it for n times, what you will get is n minus n here. So n of n into 2, t r sum 0, and we know that what is t r sum 0? T r sum 0 is 2. So 2n plus 2. This is the complexity. This is the complexity of recursive algorithm. Okay, moving ahead. So this is the number of instructions executed. So if n is 10, number of instructions executed will be 22. Whereas in sum it will be different, and that we are going to see somewhere in the next slides. Okay. Next very important thing is called as input size. So let us discuss about what is the input size for any algorithm. For any algorithm, if you are trying to solve a problem, or let us say algorithm or a problem, if this is a problem P, so how much number of inputs are needed? So how much number of inputs are needed is called as a input size. So for example, let us say in the previous example where we wanted to add all the contents of the array. So it let us say there are 5 elements. So it will require 5 size. So 5 elements are needed to be read, and along with this the size is equal to 5. So value of n, if an array is there of size n, you have to read n values along with the size of n. So you have to read n values. So n values are to be read and one size should be read. So how many values are to be, what is the input size is n plus 1. So for any problem the input size may change. One example we have discussed, that is algorithm ABC, where the input was ABC and we have done only A plus B plus B plus C and something we have done. So here input size is only 3. It is always 3. Okay, whereas here it depends on size of n. So size of n plus 1. Okay, whatever the size you are giving. So the input size of a problem is summing an array with n elements is n plus 1, as I have told here. N for listing the n elements and 1 for the value of n. Okay, algorithm sum and algorithm R sum requires n plus 1 inputs. So for this particular algorithm, as I told, algorithm ABC, the input size is constant and it is 3. You do it for 100 times, you are going to require the 3 input size. If the input to any problem instance is a single element, then input size is normally taken to be the number of bits needed. So this is also very important to specify that element. So if one element is there, input size will be how many bits needed. So if it is a byte, then if it is a, let's say, word, if it is a integer, then 4 bytes for integer, 4 bytes for byte, 1 byte, then for word 2 bytes, for integer 4 bytes, and so on. It increases. Okay. So for in general our algorithm purpose, we are going to consider it as unit, in terms of unit only. Moving ahead, find out how the count for matrix addition problem. So here, okay, so here you can see here that in a matrix addition, now I have given a matrix of size m by n. Okay, in this particular size, if you will see here properly, so A is a matrix of size m by n, B is a matrix of size n by n, C is also a matrix of size m by n, and m is a you can say constant value, in the sense it is a scalar value and it can hold any integer. N is also a scalar value, and these are the, you can say, multi-dimensional value, 2-dimensional values. Okay, so what I am doing is, I hope all of you know this particular logic. So for I is equal to 1 to m, j is equal to 1 to m, what we are doing is C of ij, this is one resultant matrix, is equal to A of ij plus B of ij. Okay, and close the loop. So this is the algorithm add, and these are the parameters: first matrix, second matrix, third matrix, and then the scalar values. Okay, so and these are the vector values. Now here, so this is the ABCMN. Now here, if you'll see here, so this, how many times this instruction is going to be executed? So for every time, what I am doing is, for I is equal to 1 to m, count is equal to count plus 1. Okay, this instruction is the number of time this control is going to come inside this count is going to do, and this count is for this for loop. So okay, so this is for external for loop. Okay, remember, this for loop is going to come inside for m times, and once it is going to go outside, so that m count is done here. Again, j is equal to 1 to n. Again, count is equal to count plus 2. Why count is equal to count plus 2 is, for this j for loop, one count will be incremented, and for this instruction, another one will be embedded, so it becomes 2. So every time 2 instructions are executing. Again, remember that this instruction is coming for n times inside, and once every time called, it is going to jump outside, and that count is not done here. And for that purpose, what I am doing is, outside this for j loop, I am doing another one count, and that is this count. Again, in the same way, outside this first for loop, this one is not counted, that I am doing here. So counting is to be done logically, properly. Okay, now what you can do is, you can write in another algorithm wherein you are just calculating. Okay, just count only, you want only the count, so you don't want these instructions and all. So in that case, you will get a better idea. Okay, so this is about how to get the count for different type of algorithms. You have seen 3 algorithms, 4 algorithms rather. So these are the 4 algorithms. I'll go back and I'll try to show you. So this sum is the 1, then R sum is the 1, then this one, its count is always 1. So you do it for 100 times, its count will be always 1, and this is the 2-dimensional array, and its count we have calculated. Moving ahead, the step table. So finding out the time complexity can be done in another way, that is called as a step table. What you can do is, you can construct a step table like this, and you can count the number of instructions executed. Okay, so let us consider the same example of sum. So the previous example, adding the contents of the array. So there are 5 elements, and then we want to add that contents. So how this is done? So here, if you see this example, how many times this instruction it executes for 1 times. Okay, how many times it is called? This instruction is called only once. So control comes here for only once. So frequency here is 1, and total number of step is this multiplied by this. So it is 1. Okay, so total step is S executions multiplied by frequency. So this is so simple. Then again, how many times the control is going to come here is it is going to come for once. Okay, and after coming here, how many times this instruction is going to be executed is it is going to be executed for n plus 1 times. So the total steps is why n plus 1 times? So every time this will be in a loop. So first time it will be called, second time it will be called, third time it will be called, fourth time it will be called, and so on. Okay, so here it is n plus 1 times called. Its frequency is n plus 1 and total number of total steps are n plus 1. About this, the instruction is going to be called for n times and its frequency is 1. Okay, the control is going to come here for n times. Its frequency will be 1. So total n. Okay, and finally the control is going to come here for once and it is going to be executed for once and it will be written, and these are the total steps that we have calculated. And if you will just add, you will identify how many number of instructions they are going to be executed. And what you can do is, for any n you can compute this and the previous step count method, you will find that both of them are equal. Okay, so I can show you if n is equal to 3, so how many times this is going to be executed. You can check it once and then you can confirm it. Moving ahead for the recursive algorithms, so how do we do it for the recursive algorithm is, so this is not going to be called, this is not going to be executed, this instruction is also not going to be executed. So this one is for this one. So this instruction is going to be called for once and its frequency is once when n is equal to 0. Even when n is greater than 1, this is going to be checked. So here either n is equal to 0 or n is equal to 1, this instruction is going to be executed. Okay, and how many total steps? For n is equal to 0, it is going to be executed for once. For n is equal to 1, it is going to be executed for once. Okay, so let us say if this condition is true. If this condition is true means it is here. So if let us say it is n is equal to 0. Okay, then both those if the value of n is greater than 0 or value of n is equal to 0, this instruction is going to be executed, and this instruction is you can reach here for once, and if n is equal to 0, this instruction will be executed for once and otherwise it is going to be executed for 0 number of times. So the total steps is 1 here and it is 0 here. Similarly, the else part, if this statement is true, n is equal to 0 is true, you are not going to come here. But if it is false, at that time you are going to come here and you are going to require 1 plus x number of, how 1 plus x? This is 1 and this is x. Okay, so this is exactly going to be executed for once. So total number of total steps will be 1 plus x. So this are 1 plus 1 plus 1, 3. So this will be 3 plus x. Okay, so it will be 3 plus x and this one will be 1. So if you again solve this one, you will get the same equation, previous one. Actually this one is taken extra, so this will be only x, this will be only x, and this 2 plus x is correct. Okay, so moving ahead, consider it for matrix addition. So this problem is matrix addition problem. So this problem is matrix addition. So here you can see that the particular matrix is to be added, and the same algorithm is here, and we can just count the steps. So how many times the instruction is going to come here is for once, and its frequency is m plus 1. The instruction is going to come here for m times, because m times this instruction is going to be correct and m times the instruction will come, and its frequency of this statement is n plus 1. So total count is m into n plus 1, and the control is going to come here for mn times. This is mn, and it is going to be executed for 1 time. So total this count remains the same. So finally, how much is the count? The count is mn plus mn is 2mn. It is 2mn plus m. So it is m plus 1 here. So m plus 2mn plus m plus n plus 1. Okay, so this is how the total steps are calculated. Moving ahead, this is a assignment that we can solve extra. So there are three assignments I have tried over here. So with this, my session number 4 is ended, and I am very much thankful to you for attending this session, and I hope you have understood the things. If you have any doubt, again you can put into the comment box. And thank you for watching, and if you liked the video, please subscribe my channel. Thank you.